Hello, thank you for joining us to learn more about the Belmont Street Reconstruction Project. On March 24th, the City of Cambridge and Town of Watertown will host a virtual community meeting. This meeting will be a video presentation followed by a live question and answer session with city staff. During this video, we will preview the final street design and reintroduce the project staff. Street and sidewalk projects are funded by municipalities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. For this project, both Cambridge and Watertown are funding the reconstruction of Belmont Street. This project is managed by the Cambridge Department of Public Works and includes an emphasis on accessibility, street designs to improve safety, improvements to transit and cycling facilities, additional street trees, and improvements to city infrastructure. As part of the street design, we will do the following: meet guidelines for accessibility, complying with the Americans with Disabilities Act, introduce street design features to improve pedestrian safety, maintain the bus priority lane in the inbound or Harvard Square direction, plan for a greater number of people traveling on Belmont Street to and from the Watertown-Cambridge Greenway, which is currently under construction, and maintain the ability for businesses to load while keeping the current number of handicap parking spots. This project will also have minimal changes to the location of street curbs, replace existing water main and services in Cambridge, replace select water services in Watertown, and maintain MBTA's existing overhead trolleybus wires and catenary poles. The scope of this project includes the following streets: Belmont Street, from just east of Brimmer Street to Mt Auburn Street, including crosswalks at the side streets, a portion of the intersection of Belmont Street at Mt Auburn Street, Holworthy Street, from Belmont Street to opposite number 20 Holworthy Street. It's important to note that Belmont Street saw a number of changes to the street design in 2018 and 2019 before this current project. In 2018, the City of Cambridge and Town of Watertown ran a pilot project with shared bus-bike lanes. The locations of these lanes are in dark red arrows shown on the screen. In 2019, Cambridge and Watertown analyzed the pilot and found minimal impacts to drivers while making the street work better for bus riders and cyclists. After additional public engagement, in late 2019, Cambridge and Watertown both made permanent the bus priority elements of the street. In 2019, Cambridge and Watertown hosted 2 community meetings and other public engagement activities. At the first meeting, we introduced the project team and the goals and objectives of the project, and we invited the neighborhood for feedback. At the second meeting, project staff presented proposed street design options and encouraged community feedback both at the meeting and afterwards through direct communication. Around the time of the second meeting, Eversource replaced the gas main and services in Cambridge. Project work was delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic for much of 2020. In late 2020 and early 2021, project staff from Cambridge and Watertown finalized a number of key remaining street design and engineering plans. At the third meeting coming up on March 24th, the community will be able to ask questions about the street design and meet the project staff. In addition to the public meetings held in 2019, the City of Cambridge and Town of Watertown engaged the community by the following: engaging directly with business owners on both the Cambridge and Watertown sides of Belmont Street, engaging with the Cambridge Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Transit Advisory Committees, and coordinating with municipal staff from Watertown and Cambridge, including emergency services and the MBTA Power Department, who own the overhead trolleybus wires and poles. Some key themes gathered from the feedback at the last public meeting included interest in curb use regulations, safety concerns in regards to pedestrian crossings along Belmont Street, and poor visibility at specific locations due to the lack of adequate street lighting, which made pedestrians feel uncomfortable or unsafe. After the meetings in 2019, and in response to this concern particularly, the Town of Watertown installed additional lighting at the corner of Belmont Street and St. Mary's Street. We also heard feedback on the proposed separate dedicated lanes for cycling and buses, feedback on the bus priority pilot project, and concerns about motorist queues trying to enter Belmont Street from Cushing Street. In 2019, Watertown and Cambridge made permanent the Mt Auburn bus priority lane. In the next section, we will show you how all of these design features fit together on Belmont Street. We will also show a graphic showing proposed parking and curb use restrictions in a new intersection design at Mt Auburn Street. Looking left to right, this plan shows the section of Belmont Street just east of Brimmer Street to Francis Street. Some key features are retained unregulated parking on the Watertown side of the street, raised crosswalks at the side streets, and a new crosswalk to the east of where Francis Street meets Belmont Street. On these plans, bike lanes are colored green to make it easier to see them for this presentation. However, green pavement markings will only be installed where there are potential bike vehicle conflicts or bike pedestrian conflicts. Next, from left to right, this plan is showing the section of Belmont Street from Francis Street to Norman Street. Some key features are the beginning of the separate dedicated bus lane and dedicated bike lane with buffer, retained parking on the Cambridge side of the street, and raised crosswalks at the side streets. Now, from left to right, this plan is showing Belmont Street from St. Mary's Street to Cushing Street. Some key features are at the corner of St. Mary's Street, a sidewalk level bike lane and shared bus stop, retained parking on the Watertown side of the street, a new rectangular rapid flashing beacon replacing the current pedestrian signal at Norman Street, buffers between the bike lane and vehicles on the Belmont bound side of the street, and raised crosswalks at the side streets. The last segment of Belmont Street from left to right is showing Belmont Street from Cushing Street to Holworthy Street. Some key features are on the Watertown side of the street, parking with 2-hour restrictions during daytimes. On the Cambridge side, some parking, loading, and handicap spaces, additional buffers for people cycling towards Belmont, raised crosswalks at the side streets, and on Cushing Street, the plan is to have a one-lane approach to Belmont Street like today. On Holworthy Street, from left to right, from Belmont Street to around number 20 Holworthy Street. Some key features are the raised crosswalk at the entrance to Holworthy Street, parking retained on both sides of the street, a wide shared use sidewalk on the Greenway side of Holworthy Street, and the approximate location of the future entrance to the Watertown-Cambridge Greenway. At the Mt Auburn Street intersection, this project will construct a partial protected intersection which will maintain existing lane configurations and the two-stage crossing for pedestrians crossing Belmont Street, add a dedicated bicycle crossing for people traveling to the future entrance of the Watertown-Cambridge Greenway on Holworthy Street, provide a dedicated lane and movement for cyclists traveling through from Belmont to Mt Auburn Street, and shift lanes to allow for safety islands for pedestrians and cyclists. Finally, taking a step back, you are seeing a plan of the parking and curb use regulations for Belmont Street. On the Watertown side, the lower part of the plan, the curb is either unregulated parking or daytime 2-hour parking. On the Cambridge side, the section near Holworthy Street has a handicap parking space, a loading zone, and some 2-hour parking. West of Norman Street, the curb is restricted to vehicles with residential parking permits. After the meeting on March 24th, project staff will be finalizing the intermunicipal agreement between Cambridge and Watertown. This project is expected to go out to bid late spring, early summer 2021. Construction is anticipated to begin late summer, early fall 2021 and continue through 2022. If you have questions or thoughts about the street design or construction and its impacts, join us on March 24th for a live question and answer session with city staff. You can also find out more information by visiting our project page, www.cambridgema.gov/BelmontST. We hope to see you at the question and answer session on March 24th at 6 p.m. The video will be shown at 6 p.m. with a question and answer session immediately following, around 6:30 p.m. Participants can email questions in advance of the meeting to kriley@cambridgema.gov.